All right, so if we're being honest, an EQ plus a boost might not be the, for lack of a better term, sexiest pedal that you've ever gone after for your pedal board, but something like this can really unlock all of the closed doors, so to speak, for the trouble with tone that you've been having. What's up, everyone? I'm Jack Fossett, and welcome to the channel, and welcome to this demo and review of the Carl Martin Tone Tweaker. This is a 3-band EQ plus a 12 decibel boost. Now, as I said, this is not something that people are necessarily going to rush out of the gates to, oh my goodness, have you heard about this new pedal? But this might actually be one of the most useful pedals on your pedal board. So today I'm going to try it out into a couple of different amps and show you and talk about a lot of different ways that something like this can tone sculpt and really help you solve whatever tonal problems you've been having with your rig. Today I'm using a Stratocaster. We're going to start off going into a Fender 57 Tweed Deluxe. And what I want you to listen for is how it really changes the dynamics of the rig to the point of actually making it sound like you're playing into a different, I want to say different but related amplifier. So let's dive right in and have a listen to what this can do. All right, so what you just heard, I think is pretty incredible, particularly considering that something like the Fender 57 Tweed Deluxe has a sound. It has a sound that it does. Now, it does the sound very, very well, but it's a very, very unique, specific thing. Well, using something like the Tone Tweaker, I actually felt like at times it smoothed it out. It kind of opened it up. It actually, I thought, made it sound like a bassman at times. If you backed off the mids, pushed the bass and the treble a little bit, it changed just the entire dynamics of the amplifier. Now, I'm showing this in this sort of setting on how you can sort of tweak your gain, tweak the size of, what the perceived size of your amplifier. Also keep in mind, if you're somebody who uses single coils and humbuckers, let's say you're going to a gig and you've got a Telecaster and you've got a Les Paul or a 335 or something, and one of the classic problems with that is, two classic problems with that are EQ and output. So you can get an amp to work okay with both, but probably not optimally. At least one of them is not going to be dialed in kind of the perfect way that you want it to be dialed in. And there can be issues with output. You might have one guitar that has much lower output than the other guitar, and it kind of throws off everything. Well, if you've ever been stuck in a position where you're like, I can't use both of those guitars at the gig because of these problems, something like this can actually solve that. You can also do it in a subtle way. You don't need to do it massively dramatically, but like for instance, let's say you've got a Telecaster that's lower output than a humbucking guitar. Well, you can push the mids a little bit and push the output on the tone tweaker, and you can get it to balance better with whatever humbucking guitar you're using without necessarily making it sound like it's a different guitar. You can just sort of beef it up to snuff a little bit. Likewise, you can also do the opposite. You could take you dial it in more for single coils. You could take a humbucking guitar. You could pull some of the mids and a little bit of the bass and make that sit a little bit better as well. Now, one of the other things you can do is just use this subtly in terms of the amplifier that you're using. So what I want to do now is I'm switching amps entirely. I'm going to go into a custom 72 coupe. Now that's a modern 2-channel amplifier with a much more modern sounding drive channel. And using the Stratocaster, I'm going to show you how you can use this pedal really just to punch it a little bit more, to focus it, and to add just a bit of push and just a bit of compression and saturation. So let's jump back in and listen to it into that amplifier. Now, there are loads of other ways you can experiment with a pedal like this. You can actually experiment with it in different points on your pedal board and your signal chain. You can affect drive pedals and modulation pedals and things differently depending on where you put it and how you dial it in. So really with something like this, the sky's the limit. And again, I know it seems simple and straightforward, but never underestimate what a useful tool something like this can be. Now, this was a sponsored review. I've worked with Carl Martin quite a bit in the past, and I actually haven't for years, so I'm really excited to start doing some reviews with them again. And I'm also going to be doing a review of their acoustic gig pedal, which is a really massive multi-effects unit for acoustic players. And Carl Martin has always made great effects that I think fly under the radar a little bit. Really usable stuff that I've recorded with, I've gigged with for years. They sound great, they work great. They've got a really cool style that's very unique to just them. So please check this out. I'm going to link to where you can pick this up below. Let us know what you think. How would you use a pedal like this? Let us know in the comments. I'm Jack Fossett. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.